It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Would you be my neighbor? Hey, everybody. It is an unbelievable November afternoon in Buffalo, at least.
Yeah.
No snow, no rain. Maybe I could take my grill inside now. Well, the boys can take it in. You know the benefit of having kids that are young adults is they can do stuff that you used to have to do.
Amen.
And you don't have to do it. You just tell them to do it. Now, they ain't going to do it the way you would do it. But they're going to do it. So I think I want to take the grill in, but I think I'm going to probably need it again.
At least one more time.
At least one more. You know what I can't stand about some of these news people? Can I just say it? The weather people. They always got to, it's like in Buffalo, they wait for a weather event. So on one station the other day, they were like, and it's going to be really unseasonably warm. And then the anchor was like, oh.
Yep.
And then she says, but don't worry, more seasonable weather is coming along. Or how like every news channel wants it to make it the weather this, weather that, your wet, because we some people just love what I call bad weather, and being able to report, oh, it's snowing in the South. I don't live in the South towns. People complain about everything. It's nice outside. I don't even have on a coat. Did you wear a coat today?
I sure didn't.
So my son is here visiting today, the teenager, because he goes to a private school that we pay all this money for, and they never have school.
I just said it in the back.
Why you got to have a 4-day weekend? You got Veterans Day. He's not a veteran. He had that day off. Then they're going to have the day off for teacher training. All the money that's being paid, can't they train the teachers during the week, during the summer? Train the teachers once every couple weeks. So he's hanging out today. A lot to talk about. Welcome, everybody. Welcome on the chat. I think I'm seeing the live chat. Sheila Taylor and those of you who are on Facebook, those of you who are on YouTube, welcome. Happy Veterans Day. If we haven't been on since Veterans Day. Well, this lighting makes me look pretty okay. Finally, he got it right. Or maybe it's the suit being dark. I don't know. Did you do something different? Okay. Well, happy Veterans Day to all of you who served. Thank you for your service. And to those of you military brats, thank your parents, whoever it was, mom or dad. Ina Ferguson is on. Hey, Ina. So I ended up doing a lot of work on Veterans Day when I wasn't going to do any work. I wasn't supposed to be working on Veterans Day, but I worked Veterans Day.
You sure did.
And today is one of them up-down days where my emotions are going to be all over the place. So yeah. Started out this morning at Party City because one of our employees is leaving us. Big ups to Janelle, who just finished her board, become an RN. She wanted to stay working for us.
Yes.
And what did I tell her, Mark?
So did I. He gave her a deadline, which he normally gives all employees who achieve their next level of education and certification.
Yes. I told her that I was going to fire her by November.
Yeah.
And she got a job in the nursing field. So if you work for me and you go into college, please understand, unless your college degree is something that you're going to benefit from working for me, I fire you. You got to go. And they all go. And every one of them that got their degrees, every single one of them have come out successful. Every one of them. So big ups to Janelle. So I went over to get her balloons.
Hopefully it wasn't as a surprise.
What? The balloons?
I'm just saying.
No, she already has them. She already
Okay.
has them. So I went over to get her balloons and some cupcakes for the staffs and to come down and celebrate with her. And gentleman was there getting balloons for the funeral so I had to go from Party City, picking up cupcakes, come here, do another member's funeral, breaking my heart of all these folks who passing on. Come do another member's funeral. Then we're gonna go celebrate Janelle. Then we're gonna do the radio show. Then we're gonna go do a wedding. All before 4 o'clock. So I'm up and down. In a minute, I'm going to get Rashid N.C. Wyatt on the phone. We're going to talk about the Bills Stadium in the public hearing. We're going to talk about the liquor store that was requested, give you some inside information in the African American Heritage Corridor. I'll tell you that I know most of you already know where it stands, but I'm going to give you some more information on that. I'm going to tell you about a new agreement with Buffalo Public Schools and the Common Council so that children in neighborhoods can utilize playground and outdoor areas of schools. Tell you about that. And then I'm going to finish it and come around and talk about where I'm going to be paying a lot of concentration over the next couple of months. And I don't know if I can say this word, but I agree with that guy who says the rent too high. Because it's a family show because my 13-year-old is here. 14. He's 14. I'm making him get his working papers, too. He's going to get some working papers. Too tall not to get a check. Yeah, but he can only work if grades are up. So.
Don't let your grades slip. So you
don't let your what?
Don't let your grades slip.
Sound like you say. Don't let your glade slip. I was like, what is a glade? I'm in a picky mood today.
That's all right.
Gonna be marrying Pastor Brown today, the president of the Baptist Ministers Conference of Buffalo and vicinity. And he took one of my members and married her. I ain't thrilled about that, but I'm happy for them. Let's see, we're gonna get, all right, hold on, Rashid. We're gonna get your mic on. Let's see. Rashid N.C. Wyatt, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Pastor. How you doing?
Good. Tell us about your hearing. You were trying to get attention on the Bills Stadium in Buffalo.
Well, it was a tremendous turnout, and it's just so appreciative to the community for coming out and standing up for what's really an important opportunity for our city. And we had individuals like Douglas Jamal, Rocco Termini, and Ben Siegel from Bills in Buffalo organization, all out trying to get attention placed on this important decision that we are trying to get the Bills back in Buffalo. The economics of it are just off the chart and what it could do for our community, especially minority-owned businesses. It could be a tremendous boom for our city. We're growing, we're expanding, and we've had people who are experts. We had a gentleman from Cleveland who built the arena in Cleveland and football stadiums that talked about the spillover for some economic development that can take place downtown. So it was a good turnout. It was great conversation. We did hear from people who were concerned about the Perrys and people who may be displaced. And we know that's a real situation, but I think, Council President, as you have said, and I know Councilmember Nowakowski has gone on record, we are very concerned about that, and that's not going to be something that we're going to put at the back end of this conversation. That's in the front end, and we want people who live in those communities to have better, not just something that's adequate, but something better. And so that's what the push is. But we do want to listen to them. We do want to hear from them, and we won't make a decision without them being a part of the conversation.
Yeah, so do you think that the needle moved any bit with the Pagulas about coming to Buffalo after the public hearing, or what are you thinking?
I'm trying to be optimistic, but the fact that, this whole process has played out in which Buffalo wasn't even mentioned, it's hard to say. I think that, again, at the end of the day, as a Buffalo elected official, as you well know, we're going to stand up for the residents of the city of Buffalo. We are 1/3 the county. And so we have to put our best foot forward. And again, thanks to the residents who came out, who spoke up, and many who agreed with Buffalo, the Bills being back in Buffalo. This is our last ditch effort. I mean, time is running out on us. And again, we just wanted to keep it out in the public sphere so that people know that we're fighting on their behalf.
Rashid N.C. Wyatt, thank you, my man. Anything else you want to let the people know while you got them?
That's it, Bishop.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
That's Rashid N.C. Wyatt. I don't think I can tell with the NC, so I'll just say N.C. Wyatt. Okay. You want to know my opinion? I am with, number one, the cause for, I want to be clear, I believe the stadium should be in the city of Buffalo, New York. I am not a sports guy. I think two things. I think it should be in Buffalo. I think it should be a dome. It's cold in Buffalo. We do have, full disclosure, my family has season tickets, and now they're expensive. And now they're talking about a seat tax, so that whatever year they do it, you're not only going to have to pay for your seats, you're going to have to pay a seat tax on top of the cost of your seat. So if we paid whatever, let's just say $3,000 for the season, now you're going to pay another $3,000. That's $6,000 for a seat that people don't even sit in. I don't go to the game. I've never been to a game. That's for my kids and my wife. They can go. They can go because I'm not going out there in that cold. I think this is a done deal. And I think it was a done deal from the beginning. And I think, this is my thoughts, that there was never an intention to even consider Buffalo. Period. That's what I think. And I think the negotiations are done. But I still think that what Councilmember Wyatt did with that hearing is incredible. And I think that if we don't say anything, then we're to blame, that we didn't even try. So I say keep trying. What do you think, Mark? You the sports guy around here.
Oh, I absolutely agree. I fully believe the team should be back in the city. Being from the Philadelphia area, I've seen what can happen when you have all of the stadiums downtown.
Yep.
In fact, you were in Philly for the DNC.
Yes.
You saw it.
Tremendous city.
When you go down for a sporting event, and I've been there when the Phillies are playing, the Sixers are playing, and the Eagles are playing, and it is an exciting environment that could change this city. And I know they say 30 years, forever. Because once you put the stadium there, more than likely it's not going to move. And I think, like you said, that's why the conversation wasn't even going to come back. Because once you put the stadium in Orchard Park, you got all these other parking lots just like, oh, we can just go over here. Orchard Park's happy. They're going to make all the concessions because
but they don't even have – think about this, Mark. Think about this. We have people coming from out of town from games. Then when the games get out, the highways and byways, excuse my church talk, highways and byways are full.
Yep.
Because they've got to get back to hotels that are downtown.
Yep.
Hotels that are in the suburbs.
Yep.
But they're not hotels near the stadium. If you had a stadium in the city of Buffalo, the hotels, this is about economic. You know, some of these people out here hollering about stuff, they miss the stuff that they need to be hollering about. Because this is something that they ought to be hollering about. Hotels would be full. What does that mean? That means those who are working in the hotels. Yep. You wouldn't have to lay them off. Because there would be this round throughout the year. Conventions in the summertime, and then in the wintertime, there would be sports going on. Imagine having Sabres downtown, Bills downtown, the restaurants downtown, small businesses in Buffalo, small businesses on the east side, the African-American Heritage Corridor. Period. This is about economic growth.
And if you really wanted to pair it all together, you're also talking about a new convention center that could have been tied into the new.
Oh, they ain't talking about that no more.
No.
They're not talking about that.
That could have been all built in together.
Right. It could have been. No, they said that from what I read, they're going to do a good renovation on the one we have.
Yeah.
Now, could you imagine because I think then you could put more government money toward the stadium if it was covered and you could use it all year round.
Retractable.
Okay. Retractable cover. I don't care. I would rather just cover it. It's more expensive if it got to retract like Toronto. Just cover it and put some bright lights in there. But imagine major concerts, all that kind of stuff that you could do year round in that space and how it could benefit Buffalo. It's just a no-brainer. But I'm going to just tell you this, and this is my opinion. When you're a billionaire and you own both major teams, you do whatever you want to.
Whatever.
Do you think that those in the negotiation room give a daggone about us saying we wanted Buffalo? Because then when the question is, well, where is Buffalo going to put the money in? I'm going to say it again. Is Orchard Park putting the money in? But again, when you own the team, and you could take the team and go to another city.
Yep.
You get to do whatever you want to. I got bigger issues. But this one is just, to me, doesn't make sense to not even have the conversation. So that's my opinion. Beverly Mission on Facebook says it would be a great economic growth and the expansion of Canal Side and of the African American Heritage Corridor. I added that in, Beverly. Ina says the team should have been back in Buffalo. A dome should have been done from the start. We got snow. It's cold. Then that means this mammoth, just like in Orchard Park. The reason there's no hotels around it, the reason there's no restaurants around it, because there's nothing that goes on around it for, 80% of the time? It's sitting there. So if we're going to use government money, which we are going to have to use government money, why not make it a stadium that could be used year round?
And that's the part I struggle with, because you can't tell me it's a done deal when the taxpayers
Yes.
have to agree on spending 9 figures
Yes.
on this project. You can't tell me it's a done deal. Whether it's $100 million, $300 million, whatever it is, that's taxpayer dollars.
Absolutely.
And to not have a conversation, I think, is a slap in the face. But I think the ownership also know the fan base isn't going anywhere. They're not going to boycott.
Absolutely.
So they're still going to drive to Orchard Park no matter what happens. They're still going to go to the Key Bank no matter what happens.
Absolutely.
So it's where we have one grip of power. There's another base that's saying, well, I'm still going to the games.
Well, and I don't know this scientifically, but I promise you probably the majority of season ticket holders don't live in the city of Buffalo.
No.
Right? So they live outside the city of Buffalo. So they don't care.
No.
And not that they don't care. I shouldn't say it like that. I'm just going to say it's not affecting them in the same way that it affects those of us in the major city, second largest city in the state of New York, that is still trying to get its sea legs economically.
Yes.
So you know where I stand. Had the public hearing. Big ups to, and I haven't seen the Criterion. It might be in the Criterion too, but big ups to Challenger. Thank you. Front page of Challenger. The headline is "No Liquor Store in the African Heritage Corridor," and they really captured the story over 2 pages of talking about. So if you don't know about this story, I think I brought it up last week. Did I bring it up last week on the show? I don't know.
I think so.
But if you don't know. This is all public information. Sunrise Liquors, that is located right now on William Street, right next door to the gas station of Sunrise Gas Station. Now, the owners I like as a person, the people-wise, they're nice, humble guys. However, their move to expand their liquor store, and if you want to know where they want to expand it, they want to expand it right onto Michigan, where that old police station is, that's still standing, that turned into a law office. Mm-hmm. If you want to know where they want to expand it, right down walking distance, maybe 200 feet or so, 300 feet. No, it's got to be a little more than that. Less than 600 feet from the archways, from the Michigan Street Baptist Church.
Yep.
And their argument, as they came in with their attorney, who allegedly, got to always use this word, allegedly does not know about the African American Heritage Corridor, who argued that it wasn't in the African American Heritage Corridor. Because it would be the back of the building.
Right, I was going to say, you got to specify, because, the entrance was going to be on the back.
Mostly on William.
Well, but, the Nash House also, you enter
Yes.
the Nash House on that side.
Yes. So he was arguing a case before the council that it wasn't in the corridor. Are you kidding me? And for those of you who don't know where the corridor goes, the corridor starts near Main, right where the wall is.
At Ferry.
At Ferry, and really technically before then all the way up to Main, but we kind of claim from Bethel AME Church all the way down.
To Swan.
All the way down. Durham Memorial AME Zion Church is there. The Colored Musicians Club, this radio station is in the corridor. But on the street itself, you want to put the back of a liquor store. And then called the present building, this is their lawyer, on the record, an eyesore. And I responded, there's already an eyesore right there around the corner at that liquor store.
Sure is.
Where tenants are where residents complain all the time about loud music of cars as they go in to get their liquor. They don't turn their music down. Some of them don't turn their music down, don't respect the residents. Then you have people who go over, buy their alcohol, then go into the sacred ground of the Jesse Clipper Monument. It is sacred ground. People kept using that word, and I appreciated that. Sacred ground. African American Heritage Corridor, sacred ground. And they still want to pursue this. Here's the big thing, folks. If you didn't see it, go back and look on Facebook at what is it under Buffalo Common Council?
Yes.
So you go back and you look. They had a contractor.
Sure did.
The contractor was there to support them. He was supporting too. And I know him. Egrew. He was there supporting him. And when I tell you, when people work together, working together works. Working together, Kamal says it all the time, working together works. People came out. Now, I'm not going to say I agreed with every approach or every word. But what I did agree with and what I was thankful for is we put the call out there, and not just me. It was in the Challenger. It was in the Criterion. It was in the Buffalo News.
The commission.
And what?
The
commission. They sent out a letter. They sent a letter to us opposing it. And with us all working together, we were the contractor, after he heard people's heart, came back to the mic. And he said something to the effect, you all have educated me and I withdraw my name, and walked out of the chambers. 11 years. I have never seen a contractor quit in the chambers, and got his coat and walked out.
Sure did.
Then the attorney for the applicants came back to the mic, and I forgot the words he used, but he basically said, since our contractor just dumped us. Oh my gosh. The contractor said he was not building that liquor store. The contractor said that. That was classic. That was one of the most classic days on the council.
Yeah.
To have somebody who could have made money on it say, I'm out of this.
And I will say, just following up, so I ran into Queen Eva Doyle this morning at Rite Aid, and she said, based on the lawyer's comment of there's no historical value, she said she's immediately started to research because she believes he's incorrect.
Yeah.
So she's researching right now the historical value of that building.
Good. Let's research it. So the head of the association that they're with did come and talk to me on the side and said that they wanted to meet now and to see what other uses it could be. Now, the lawyer went into what it couldn't be and da-da-da-da-da. Here's my hope. You know what I hope they do with that building? Turn it over to the African American Heritage Corridor Commission or sell it to them. And I did have a conversation yesterday with our assemblywoman, and I said, if they did, the commission doesn't have any money. She said, we'll find it. I wish, this is my heart, that whatever they paid for it, I don't mean for them to be able to, whatever you paid for it, release or sell that building to the commission or to the city or somebody that is with, I don't want to say somebody. I want it to be a place. If not that building, if it gets torn down, whatever, but if it is that building, a place that complements the corridor, period. We'll see, but unanimously, folks. Now, it goes to council Tuesday, so keep your ears open, because it was sent out of committee with unanimous votes saying no. Matter of fact, it's not often that my colleagues will go around each one and say, oh, yeah, when this comes before the council Tuesday, I'm voting no. So officially, it's not over until Tuesday. Beverly says they should sell the property. Beverly, I want them to sell the property either to the city of Buffalo or sell the property to the commission so that something can happen in there so that we have that whole block. I mean, we already, we don't, a lot, people are against Tim Horton. You can't do anything if we don't own anything. It belongs to private developer.
No public money.
No public money went into Tim Horton. So at the end of the day, we got to start getting this land now.
And then to the developer's credit for Tim Horton, they sat before the public in very heated meetings, and some of the things were, some of the attributes of the building were reflections of the historic building that was there. So that, again, when the community sticks together, you could have just got, as you always say, this box building.
Yep.
But at least some of the elements reflect the historical value in the corridor.
Yes, and we need, if that's going to be knocked down, there needs to be something there. Just what you said, my words. I'm tired of seeing box buildings. No, we deserve more. Beverly Mitchell said, Pastor, you did an awesome job on this assignment. And it was an assignment. I agree with you. It was an assignment. When the contractor withdrew, it was amazing. Granny Dawn says, laugh out loud, he tried it. Diane says, I didn't know it was that long. Talking about the corridor. Exactly. And speaking of the corridor, I'm trying to give warning. That house next door to Pilgrim Baptist Church, come on in, see. That house next door to Pilgrim Baptist Church, it is horrible. And I think at one time it probably belonged to whoever was in that building because it's the same type of architecture. So it probably used to be the parsonage or something. I want everybody to know it does not belong to Pilgrim Baptist Church. But to have a house like that, now we've had the inspectors over there, and it's going to lead into what I'm getting ready to talk about in a minute. But at the end of the day, you can't leave something. Why do you think you can, no windows up in the top? People, I walked around it myself. The pastor called me. I've been taking pictures of it. At the end of the day, I'm sick of people owning property in the city of Buffalo, and this is an LLC, I believe, that now has it, and you just leave it sitting there in the African American Heritage Corridor. And I don't mind going in for the African American Heritage Corridor because I'm an African American, and at the end of the day, everybody gets to go in and improve their areas, and that we've got to be just as strong on this, and that can only happen if we stick together. Don't let somebody come in between, be a fly in the ointment with some old bull crap. End of the day, that place, that's you in my target. Whoever owns it, you are in my crosshairs. Because at the end of the day, and I mean that, philosophically, not.
I was going to
say
he was a marked shooter.
I mean that as far as legislatively and getting your behinds in the court. No liquor store. Tuesday's the vote, council member.
Tuesday's the vote.
Hold on, I got to get you some mic. You say what?
Tuesday's a vote, and I'm with you.
Yeah, Rashid and CY.
It was interesting that this attorney after hearing all these folks pour out their heart saying, "Hey, this can't happen."
Yeah.
And he doubled down. He said, "Oh, they're going to continue to move forward.
We're going to continue to move forward."
I was like, "Oh, really?"
He would have been better off withdrawing that application right then and there, but he didn't.
Nope.
So we'll see him Tuesday. I see you Tuesday at 2:00 because I can tell you where Darius Pridgen's vote is going to be. It's going to be a big, fat no. And I might call a roll call.
Roll call, because I'm with you, because this is just, and you talked about these slumlords. I have a property in my district, Millicent Homes, that was just recently purchased supposedly in August. And it's absolutely appalling. Furnaces don't work. Windows are busted out. And the owner told me, "Oh yeah, I've had it since August and I've been doing improvements." But when I had my community meeting, there was no improvements from any residents. No resident said there was any improvements.
Yep.
We have to put an end to this and not allow these individuals, no matter if it's the African Heritage Corridor or in our other communities, they should not be able to exist. We need to shut them down because it's disrespectful. People pay their rent.
Yep.
And then you give them subpar services. Their heat doesn't work. They don't have a hot water tank.
Okay, hold on. Don't go way down there. Don't go,
Okay.
because we're going to end with that. Hold on.
Excuse me.
Let's talk about this agreement with Buffalo Public Schools, where they can utilize that neighborhoods will be able to utilize the playgrounds at the schools, and some of them have basketball courts. I think that is tremendous.
I think that's great, and it's a great first step. But, I would like to see some other things, like being able to utilize those gymnasiums and those swimming pools. And I think Councilmember Fioretto asked the question, well, what about the swimming pools and those things? And we didn't have any answers for it. But I think it's a good first step.
It's a good step.
And I hope that we can do more, because I know when you were on the board, when Joint Schools Construction, the whole idea for building out that money for those schools was that the community would be able to use them. And I know that the Buffalo board is doing some of that with some of the schools and some of the program, which is great. I mean, I'm not going to knock it. They have some great programs for people, for communities, for children, but we need some more. And especially in my district at Olmsted, I would love to see more opportunity in that school for the kids and the families.
Yeah, but I agree with you. It's a great first step. You got to start somewhere, because sometimes you start off too big and then the whole thing collapses. Because we got to remember that we're talking about contracts of unions, who's going to man them, who's going to be there, the liability insurance. So I think, and they said that there are three tiers.
Right.
So this is tier 1, and I think this is so good because it's hard to see children outside playing in the middle of the street when you got a school right down the street. So these certain schools will be open where the community can utilize, like the playground, and I think they'll close at about 7:00, which to me is reasonable, because you got to have somebody man it, you got to have somebody clean it up. But I just cannot say enough of how excited I am to see schools starting to open up more and more and more.
And this is what we should be doing. I mean, we should be partnering with the schools and organizations. I mean, I think too many times we are in these silos, but we have to show what we can do to benefit the community and the residents.
You got it. So Rashid started talking about this, Councilman Wyatt. So I have submitted a resolution to the Common Council about these slum lords. And I'm going to tell you why. Listen, we've done a lot as far as going after slum lords, getting them into court, doing all that. And I have to say, a big ups to the inspectors for the city of Buffalo.
Yes, absolutely.
Honest to goodness.
Absolutely.
Because we can criticize things, but when you call them, they go out.
Yep.
They do their job. So thank you to the inspectors from the city of Buffalo. Now, here's the problem, folks. There's many problems, but the inspectors can go out, write up a house like the one next door to me, but I will say it's in better hands and they're working on it, slow as a snail. So, I don't know how you paint front of a house and don't paint the sides that's got chip and lead paint. I don't know.
It's called progress, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know how you do one side of the roof and you still ain't finished the other side. I don't. But they okay. So I digress. What is happening a lot of times, they will get written up, and then they'll transfer the property.
Yep.
They'll transfer the property. I I don't know that they don't still own it, but legally they transfer the property and this whole situation starts all over again. Because you can't hold the new property owner liable for what the old property owner didn't do it. You know, you can't say if the old property owner had 3 months to fix it and now they transfer over the property, that new property owner is then going to go through the whole same shebang and the neighborhoods are left horrible. Now, I'm going to say this. The rent that these people are getting, the rent that they are getting, there is no excuse. And I don't want to just talk about it, and I don't want to just be standing in front of somebody's house every other day, and thank God that there are those who do it. I want to do legislation that holds people accountable. So here is, you all are getting this first, the resolution that we have just clocked in. It's called Protecting Tenants with Legislative Solutions. Whereas low-quality housing negatively affects renters who are forced to live in unsuitable and unfair living conditions. Whereas these derelict properties also negatively affect the surrounding community by significantly lowering property values and creating an atmosphere of blight. Whereas rising rent costs in Buffalo continue to make it difficult for low-income renters to find housing that meets basic needs. Whereas these housing problems dramatically affect the lives of low-income renters, an analysis indicates that these problems disproportionately affect Buffalo's African American population. Whereas in the September 2021 article, The Harder We Run, authors Henry Louis Taylor Jr., Jin Q. Jung, and Evan Dash explain, quote, "The housing problem is the most challenging neighborhood problem confronting African Americans. The low quality of housing and rent gouging characterize the problem. Whereas the city of Buffalo has attempted to abate issues with absentee landlords, derelict housing, and violations against tenant rights with fines and citations with varying degrees of success in the past. Whereas to ensure that housing problems are properly addressed in the city of Buffalo, the city must explore legislative options to strengthen regulations and proactively stop the problem before it begins. Whereas because this affects so many Buffalo residents, it is important that the public has an opportunity to share their firsthand experience, provide insights into the nuanced issues associated with housing, and offer ideas for how the city of Buffalo can legislatively, I'm going to say it again, legislatively address, that means laws in place, address to protecting the rights of tenants. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Buffalo Common Council hereby, and this gets voted on Tuesday, folks, calls on the Buffalo Common Council staff to conduct research and provide a report of the ways in which other municipalities have established legislation to abate the problems of derelict housing and absentee landlords and protect tenant rights. Also, we are calling on our staff to establish a mechanism. Basically, there's going to be a public airing that will go from the date that we vote on this on Tuesday until the first of the year, which means those groups out there that are pressing for different laws, they will be able to submit that to the council. Those people, just regular people who have ideas of what laws can be. Now, I want to say this, just because there's an idea doesn't mean we can do it. Some things, and I met with Crystal Peoples-Stokes, the assemblywoman, and the majority leader of our state yesterday, and she's willing. She is really on fire about this, of saying, well, let's look at what at the state level we need to change also. And so what we are saying up until the first of the year, we're going to be working on a document that we bring legislative change so that these slumlords, who some of them are they collecting so much rent and not doing their job. We also have to work with Housing Court. We must work with Housing Court, and there may need to be an expansion of Housing Court. But one thing, that's what we really need. We have Harold Caldwell, who does a good job. He's not in Housing Court, by the way, but he answers housing issues. That has to expand, I believe. And I think when we do the budget, we need several who are out there because he's collecting money back from landlords and all that, but it's basically a one-man show from what I know. And at the end of the day, we have to protect these tenants, especially the most vulnerable tenants that we have, those who don't have access to lawyers. Those, you know, if some of these people had lawyers, because I've been to housing court with people who did not have lawyers, and then the landlords had lawyers, and of course the lawyers know all of the laws and the legal garb and the da-da-da-da-da-da, and at the end of the day, it's a shame what some of these landlords are doing to these tenants. Rashid, you had a thought.
And it's funny, I mean, and I want to be a co-sponsor, and I want to say this on the show, I want to be a co-sponsor because that's exactly where I'm at right now with this Millicent Homes development. You know, I had a public meeting on October 25th, had a great turnout. Not only did the residents from Millicent Homes, as you talked about, the neighbors on adjacent blocks came out because it affects them. So this is the type of legislation we really need. I mean, similar to the legislation I put forth regarding the party houses.
Yes,
You know, there's a significant fine. Now, you could have a party house, but when the police
you
come
gonna
out,
pay.
you get a $1,500 fine.
Yep.
We have to hit these folks in the pocket because this homeowner, this owner that I asked to come to this public meeting gave me every excuse under the sun.
Did he come?
He never showed up. So I'm sending him a letter now, and I'm sending it email, and I'm sending it registered mail because I want him to know. I want to hold him accountable. I want him to come to the common council meeting. I want him to come to the next community meeting. What have you done? We have to hold these people accountable, but Council President, as you said, we have to legislate it. How do we do it legislatively? And I really think that that's the right step because at the end of the day, these guys play these little games, and from what I'm being told, and I don't know for a fact, but what I'm hearing is that this development was transferred to somebody else because there were problems.
But see, that's the same thing that happened with Town Gardens.
Yep.
And thank God it got into the hand of a receiver. You know, the receiver, who's an attorney, is much more responsive than the last owners. And the last owners, when I'm walking through the complex, showing them all the problems, told me by New York City standards where he comes from, and that's another part of the problem, is we have so many landlords that don't give a daggone about Buffalo because they don't live in Buffalo.
Right.
And they don't even live near Buffalo.
Yep.
We have this is why I won't easily sell land in the city of Buffalo. And I can't say in Ellicott, I do not sell land easily to people who don't live in Buffalo. I want to know why. Right. Why is it that you want this lot next door to your rental house? And what are you going to do with it? And how are you going to keep it clean? Because when I put the moratorium on the sale of city property in the Fruit Belt, it's because I knew these people were going to come in, buy up land, do nothing with it. And I want to see more community building from the boots up. I want to see more land trusts, those type of things, where the community, the community that lives in the community builds up their own community, and then they'll take ownership.
Yeah, because this guy tells me I've made some changes, and I believe he lives in New York City.
See, it's a lot.
And so you don't have a connection. But then he tells me, yeah, I purchased property, but I didn't know what bad condition. So you mean to tell me you blindly bought some property that you never even saw?
Oh, they buy it on the internet, see?
It's crazy.
They buy it on the internet and never have walked in the property. And then when they walk in the property and find the problems, you got to realize they don't just own one property. They own several properties. And they leave this crap and hope now with Buffalo's market, because people are paying ridiculous prices for houses, ridiculous prices. But at the end of the day, it is the market, right?
Yeah.
But
that probably should be part of our issue too, as far as how we look at legislating. Is that state? Is that federal? Because that should not be allowed. How do you allow someone to purchase a property? This guy says, "Oh, I never knew it was that bad." Dude, you spent $1 million on a property and you never came and looked at it?
Yeah.
Shame on you.
You know what I want to see as a part of this legislation package that we end up doing is we may have to do for landlords like we do for management companies, where if you are a landlord that does not live in your property, that you have to be registered in the city of Buffalo. And that not only should you be registered in the city of Buffalo, but your place should be inspected. We do it for Airbnbs. You can't have an Airbnb and not have it inspected now. And I know some will say, well, that's going to create costs. That's going to have to go to the consumer. At the end of the day, people deserve to live in a property that has like a fire extinguisher. You know, we talk a lot about the smoke detectors, but you need a fire extinguisher to me in every kitchen. And you know, at the end of the day, I think that if part of this, and that's why I want to hear from people, to be very honest, and I want to hear from good landlords, and I hope some of the slumlords, I hope some of them get involved and fight me and say why it shouldn't be, because they don't. I think they should have to get a license every so many years, and that license has to be renewed, and a part of that renewal is an inspection of their property. Now, the only caution I have there is that it's already tough enough for poor people to find housing. And I don't want to see landlords, and Crystal and I talked about this yesterday, who are doing like what they're doing in New York City. In New York City, they are evicting tenants for no good cause. So they have something right now in the state that they're looking at called good cause eviction. They're evicting. You come to the end of your lease, they evict you. And the reason is they know they can get more from the next tenant.
Wow.
So they put you out.
Wow.
And then bring in another tenant and get more rent. And that's a problem in New York City. Wow. And if it's a problem in New York City, it's on the way to Buffalo. Trust me. It's on the way. What'd you say, Mark?
That is actually one of the items in PPG's Bill of Rights.
Oh, and I didn't bring it in. Okay.
No, yes, it is. It's on there.
It's on here?
Yep.
You got it, I mean, here, right here?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, yep, it is. Yep. And that is, I mean, you said PPG. This is from PPG or from Push?
PPG helped push.
Okay. Go ahead. This is one of the things on there?
Yep, it's item number 1.
All right, so I did meet with Push Buffalo, and PPG was supposed to be on. They weren't, but they have something called that they're advancing called the Buffalo Tenant Bill of Rights, and we filed that also with the council this week. So when I tell you we got to focus on a lot of things, but over this next year. My major focus, one of my major focus, is going to be on legislation that is to protect tenants, because most of the legislation protects landlords. And so part of the Bill of Rights is the right to just cause eviction. 2 is right to timely repairs. I agree.
It's kind of ridiculous that, you know, because the amount of rent that people are paying today, and the quality they're getting is just
it's horrible.
Yeah.
Then they have right to language access in and out of Buffalo City Housing Court. It's good. 4, right to know who owns the building. Totally agree.
Because we always confounded with these LLCs and all this stuff. It's
so now you're talking legislation that's beyond the city, possibly. But to me, when we look at this, if you have an LLC, you must have some type of management company that we can contact. There's got to be, or a contact person in your LLC. Must be on file.
Because I got a situation again with a person that owns a piece of land, a couple of pieces of land, that they changed the name slightly, and they have so many different variations you can't track them all. So we got to check every variation because they have properties under all these different variations. It's ridiculous.
And a lot of the LLCs are just the address of the property.
Yeah.
And there's nothing on. So I agree with so much of this. 5 is the right to legal counsel in Buffalo City Housing Court. Definitely agree. So basically, if you go to City Housing Court and you don't have an attorney, you got to act as your own attorney.
Right.
If your landlord has, I just said it, right? So if you go for anything else, if you go for a criminal matter and you can't afford an attorney, one is assigned to you. So I think at the end of the day, when you talk about housing and the fact that somebody can be out on the street because they just didn't know the lingo or they didn't know what to ask for, I agree. 6 is the right to housing stability. 7 is the right to first refusal, tenant opportunity to purchase, and right to return. So it gets deep. It gets deeper and deeper. So right to representative through an advocate. So we're going to look at this. So folks, I just wanted to throw it out there so you know that the comment that if we vote on it Tuesday, and I can't imagine any council member voting against, saying let's put together legislation that would protect tenants.
Absolutely.
Because we're seeing some stuff out here, and there are people out here doing a good job with social media and helping a lot of people. I'm going to say that because you got people who are going like, I don't know what else to do. I have no idea what else to do, and so we're doing they're doing what they do, but I think that as lawmakers, we not only have to support those folks, but we need to make sure that there are laws on the books. I want landlords, I want people in the city of Buffalo, when they buy property and they're going to rent it out, for them to go like, they don't play in Buffalo.
Yeah. And I totally agree. Because, honestly, individuals who are in these situations don't have the wherewithal to go to court.
Absolutely.
And get an attorney.
Absolutely.
They're working 2 and 3 jobs. They don't have. They're just trying to live. And so it's our job to do and speak up on their behalf, because it's absolutely ridiculous what these landlords do to these tenants. And I get it. It's a balance. But at the end of the day, there's too many predatory landlords that prey on those who are in tough situations.
Absolutely. Doris says on Facebook, this is a really great start. Jeanette Parker says, it's hard for me to find an apartment for rent, and I have Section 8. I need to be out by December 1st. She's not the only one. But see, I wonder why she has to be out. Because if we don't put some type of legislation, and these landlords know I'm getting $1,500 from Section 8 and I can get $2,000 because somebody else got it, they're just going to keep putting people out, and that puts families out. We have an employee here, been in the house, I think 10 years or more. Out of nowhere, her landlord said, oh, I'm not renewing. Like out of nowhere. And now she's out there.
And see, I've heard of this legislation regarding the rent control and those things, and I'm going to explore that. Because I think that's really important, because there are these individuals who, again, they don't give you quality housing, but they gouge you. I think Dr. Taylor's report speaks to the amount of money people on the east side are spending for housing that they really can't afford, but that's still inadequate.
Yes. Pam says tenant bill of rights. June Showers says every apartment that came to my phone for rent within the lower part housed the neighborhood, and they were asking for 100 and above. I'm not really sure. I can't, and I'm sorry, my glasses are dirty, Joe. I'm just going to be honest. Shucks, when it gets too long, I can't see. Suspend those landlords from Section 8. And that's something that is not under our power, but landlords can be suspended under Section 8. What we're looking at is on the city level.
Right.
What can we do? Right. And I think that the fee that a landlord would have to pay to register every 5 years would pay for the staffing of sending the inspector out to inspect. And I don't mean the building inspector. I think you got to have more heralds out there that go in even when there's a problem and they know the landlord. Right. Daphne said all the names need to be the same in the paperwork. So there's a lot. Now, I apologize, Junior, I couldn't read the whole thing.
He was just saying that even the low-end apartments are asking for $1,100 and above. And
yes.
They're asking for credit checks and annual income.
Yeah, and that. Checks. Oh, yeah. But I said this years ago that this was coming to Buffalo. Now, this isn't new.
No.
You go to Baltimore, you go to Atlanta, you go anywhere else. There's going to be, because landlords is a business.
Yeah.
And they want to know they can get their money. So I said it. I kept saying, I said so many things years ago, and I don't think I said buy land in Fruitville. I said it. We sitting right out there in the subway. And I said about get your credit together, because soon it's not going to be about getting a cell phone. So folks, hear me. We got to teach our young people. Don't go out there and mess up your credit, and then when you get ready to move out of mom and daddy's house, you can't. Or you got to move in somebody else's name, and then it's time to get it together.
Well, we're going to have, I got a financial seminar that I'm going to have in January that I'm inviting people to come, because we got to get our credit together. We complain about people buying property in our neighborhoods because we can't afford to buy it. We should be in a position to buy that property. We shouldn't have to worry about renting from anybody. We should
Absolutely.
own. So we have to work on that.
Katrina says this is so sad. It is sad, and that's why I think it's time.
Yeah.
It's time. I want the city of Buffalo to be known by landlords. I just want them to say, you know good and well, you can't do such in Buffalo. Mm-hmm. You know that you're going to get thrown in jail. You're going to get thrown.
There's going to be some consequences.
There has to be consequences.
Right.
And if we don't deliver on that,
Yep.
if you think about it, it's getting worse.
Yeah.
And some of these landlords are feeling real comfortable. I think about the slumlord signs that we put up. I say half of them, the people have worked on them, started working on the house. Now, everybody want to say pandemic, and I do get it that prices went up. But some of these folks still got signs in front of their houses. Yeah. That before the pandemic, we put those signs up. They don't care. Their name is on the sign. Yeah. Their address is on the sign.
Well, at least they ain't come take it down like the one that they did. Right?
Oh, we had more than one to take it down. They'll come and take it down in a minute, and we put one back up. But they were effective for some of the houses. But then the ones that they were not effective, now one person lived right in Buffalo and right on the east side. The others where you don't see effect when they don't live in Buffalo.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah.
They just don't care, and so when you just don't care, you do whatever you want to.
Yep.
So we're working on it, folks. I wanted to let you know that this is the laser focus right now. Part of the laser focus. There are many other things we're working on, but this is a laser focus of what I think that we need to be concentrating on right now, because the rent is too bleep.
Daggone.
Huh?
Daggone.
I don't even want to say daggone. I want you to know what I'm saying. Bleep. Hi.
Well, that's
for people to be living like this.
That one's up for interpretation.
I only know of one word that could be. Listen,
it's in the Bible.
Huh?
That's in the Bible.
It's in the Bible.
I know one that could not be in the Bible.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I'm not talking about that one.
See what I mean? I mean?
So it says leftover interpretation.
Hobson's a doctor of dry cleaner. They 74 East Delavan. I was over there the other day to see the grands now working there, and still having that customer service where when you go in there, they're going to know who you are. They service you quickly. Your clothes come out like brand new. This suit right here, yes, yes, yes. Yes, 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 yes. This shirt right here, yes, 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 yes. Crispy. This is a
light starch, heavy starch.
I just get regular starch,
Okay.
but I do like heavy starch.
Yeah.
I really do, but I never ask for it. But I like it so crispy that when you go to put it on, it feel like paper. You know what I mean?
That's military style.
It's military style. Yes.
No, I like mine stiff too.
You like it like that? I like when you put your arms in it and go.
Yeah.
And you walk in like the scarecrow once you put it on. I like
Negative.
mine so crispy that you almost want to write a term paper on it. That's how crispy I like my shirt.
It's got to get us to lunch with the creases still in it before.
No, I like starch.
I like it. Ross just said, Tina says, stop using pandemic, hold landlords accountable. I agree, Tina. I agree. Ross says we need to talk about apprenticeships and careers. I agree. My time is winding up. Shuki says, can the city take over the slumlord properties? We'll come back and talk about that. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Home in your hour of need. 347 Peckham, 2528 Bailey, 1275 Sycamore Street. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes. That's who you call. In your hour of need, pick up the phone, call the operator, because if I give you the number, you're going to forget it. So call the operator and say, I need the number to Brian K. Lewis Funeral Home. Listen, folks, it's been a great show. Until next week, we say power to the people.